You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Secure access is crucial for U.S. public sector missions, ensuring that only authorized users can access certain systems, networks, or data. Are your defenses ready? Cisco's Security Service Edge delivers comprehensive protection for your network and users. Experience the power of zero trust and secure your workforce wherever they are. Elevate your security strategy by visiting cisco.com/go.sse. That's cisco.com/go/sse. Treasury's OCC reports a major email breach. We got some Patch Tuesday updates. A critical vulnerability in AWS Systems Manager agent allowed attackers to execute arbitrary code with root privileges. Experts urge Congress to keep strict export controls to help slow China's progress in AI. A critical bug in WhatsApp for Windows allows malicious code execution. CISA adds multiple advisories on actively exploited vulnerabilities. Insider threat allegations rock a major Maryland medical center. Microsoft's Ann Johnson from Afternoon Cyber Tea is joined by Jack Recider, the creator and host of the acclaimed podcast Darknet Diaries. And feds aim to rewrite Social Security code in record time. It's Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here. It's great to have you with us, as always. The U.S. Treasury's Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, reported a major email breach discovered on February 12th. The incident involved unauthorized access to 103 email accounts, including those of OCC executives and staff. Hackers accessed around 150,000 emails dating back to May of 2023. Some messages contained sensitive information on federally regulated banks used for oversight and examinations. The breach was initially flagged by Microsoft, which alerted the OCC. While the OCC says there's no sign the wider financial sector was affected, the compromised data is considered highly sensitive. The attacker's identity remains unknown, but previous targeting of Treasury entities has been linked to China-based group Silk Typhoon. The OCC has since ended the unauthorized access and is continuing its investigation. This month's Patch Tuesday was a heavyweight, with Microsoft releasing fixes for 147 vulnerabilities, 5 of them rated critical, and 1 already being exploited in the wild. That 0 day involved a malicious proxy driver being used in targeted attacks. Most of the bugs hit core components like Windows kernel, Office, and Azure services. If your org runs Microsoft infrastructure, this one's a must-do. But the patch party didn't stop there. Fortinet issued a fix for a critical bug in FortiSwitch. It allows remote unauthenticated attackers to reset admin passwords with a specially crafted request. It's a serious threat to network integrity and needs urgent patching. Ivanti patched 6 vulnerabilities in its endpoint manager. One of them could let an unauthenticated user execute a cross-site scripting attack and gain administrative access. VMware also delivered updates for 47 issues in Tanzu, with 10 marked critical, and Zoom resolved 6 bugs across its workplace suite. In the industrial sector, Rockwell, Siemens, Schneider Electric, and ABB all patched ICS vulnerabilities. Siemens even recommended replacing a power monitoring device entirely due to security flaws that couldn't be safely mitigated with software alone. So don't delay and patch 'em if you got 'em. A critical vulnerability in AWS Systems Manager agent allowed attackers to execute arbitrary code with root privileges by exploiting improper input validation in the validate plugin ID function. This flaw let attackers craft malicious plugin IDs using path traversal to create and execute unauthorized scripts in system directories. Since the SSM agent is widely used to manage EC2 and on-prem servers, the risk was significant. AWS patched the issue on March 5th after responsible disclosure in February. Security experts advise updating immediately, validating plugin IDs, and using safe path resolution methods like build safe path. This incident underscores that even mature cloud tools are vulnerable and highlights the need for strict input validation and ongoing system monitoring in cloud environments. Technology experts urged Congress to keep strict export controls on semiconductor chips and other tech, arguing these restrictions are crucial for slowing China's progress in AI and preserving U.S. leadership, Cyberscoop reports. Although the U.S. has long limited China's access to advanced chips, the rise of generative AI models from firms like DeepSeek and Alibaba has raised doubts about the strategy's effectiveness. Still, experts like Gregory Allen of the Center for Strategic and International Studies said these restrictions have already limited China's AI advancement and should continue. DeepSeek, despite its progress, still struggles with a lack of high-performance computing power, something only U.S.-made chips currently provide. Experts argue that American technology is still foundational to China's AI development, giving the U.S. vital leverage. They also criticized the Biden administration's export control rollout, saying advance notice allowed Chinese firms to stockpile parts. They called for tighter, faster controls guided by deeper collaboration with tech and intelligence sectors. A critical bug in WhatsApp for Windows allows attackers to execute malicious code by tricking users into opening rigged attachments. The flaw, fixed in a recent version, involves a mismatch between MIME type and file extension. For example, an .exe file disguised as an image could run if clicked. Though the exploit requires user interaction, experts warn it's easy to deceive users. Meta urges everyone to update WhatsApp and be cautious with attachments, even from familiar contacts. CISA has issued an urgent call for organizations to patch 2 actively exploited zero-day vulnerabilities. The first is a critical flaw in Gladinet's CenterStack cloud server, which allows remote code execution via improper handling of cryptographic keys. Exploited since March, it was recently patched. The second is a Windows CLFS vulnerability, a use-after-free issue in Microsoft's Common Log File System driver enables local privilege escalation. It's actively exploited by the Pipe Magic malware in ransomware attacks, and it was addressed on Patch Tuesday. CISA mandates federal agencies apply these patches by April 29th. A chilling insider threat case has rocked the University of Maryland Medical Center, where a now former pharmacist allegedly used his access to IT systems to spy on female clinicians for nearly a decade. Matthew Bacula is accused of installing spyware on over 400 hospital and home devices, enabling him to secretly watch coworkers breastfeeding in intimate moments and interacting with their families. He reportedly used keyloggers to steal passwords, gaining access to personal accounts and cloud storage. Despite alerts from IT staff and suspicions of hacking, UMMC allegedly failed to identify or stop the breach. Victims only learned of the voyeurism through FBI investigations. A civil lawsuit claims UMMC was negligent, violating healthcare security laws. The hospital has since fired Bacula and pledged to improve its cybersecurity, but the damage, both emotional and reputational, is severe. This case is a stark reminder of how dangerous insider threats can be when detection and oversight fail. Coming up after the break, Microsoft's Ann Johnson from the Afternoon Cyber Tea podcast is joined by Jack Recider, creator and host of Darknet Diaries. And the feds aim to rewrite Social Security code in record time. Stay with us. Do you know the status of your compliance controls right now? Like, right now. We know that real-time visibility is critical for security, but when it comes to our GRC programs, we rely on point-in-time checks. But get this. More than 8,000 companies like Atlassian and Quora have continuous visibility into their controls with Vanta. Here's the gist. Vanta brings automation to evidence collection across 30 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. They also centralize key workflows like policies, access reviews, and reporting, and helps you get security questionnaires done 5 times faster with AI. Now that's a new way to GRC. Get $1,000 off Vanta when you go to vanta.com/cyber. That's vanta.com/cyber for $1,000 off. Are you frustrated with cyber risk scores backed by mysterious data, zero context, and cloudy reasoning? Typical cyber ratings are ineffective, and the true risk story is begging to be told. It's time to cut the BS. Black Kite believes in seeing the full picture with more than a score, one where companies have complete clarity in their third-party cyber risk using reliable, quantitative data. Make better decisions. Reduce your uncertainty. Trust Black Kite. Microsoft's Ann Johnson is host of the Afternoon Cyber Tea podcast right here on the N2K CyberWire Network. In a recent episode, she was joined by Jack Recider, the creator and host of the acclaimed podcast, Darknet Diaries.
Today, I'm excited to welcome Jack Recider, the creator and host of fellow cybersecurity podcast, the Darknet Diaries. Welcome to Afternoon Cyber Tea, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
I know you started on your own. You had no background in podcasting. What drove you to tell these stories, and what drove you to a podcast for the medium to tell the stories?
I wanted the show to exist, and nobody really understood because I pitched it a few podcasters. They're like, I don't really understand what you're talking about. Why would anybody want old news? We only do new news here. And so I said, well, I guess this might be something I have to make myself. If I want to hear it and it's not out there, I've got to make it myself. It is maybe one of those, like overnight success, but took 10 years to make, right? Of all the things that I tried to do, this one is maybe one of the hardest because with a podcast, you don't just you're done and that's it. You can walk away and let it ride. It's like every week, every day, you've got to go and make another one. It's ridiculous how much work it is to just keep it going. And I almost wish I just had a basic SaaS app that just generates money every month without me having to do anything. This is quite a lot of fun, the ride that this has taken me on.
It's a lot of work, and you doing it on your own. 90 million downloads in less than 8 years is extraordinary. And your humility that you're showing is probably a lot of the reason why you're that successful, right?
I mean, I take a lot of inspiration from people who have been successful before me. I want to do that too. And teach me how you got there. And I want to I want to follow in your footsteps, right? So that's kind of how I look at people who are more successful than me. It's very inspiring, and I want to get there as well.
So how do you go about your storytelling? How do you make the stories relatable? How do you decide which stories you're going to tell?
A lot of tricks that I think are interesting are we start the story in a specific direction, knowing that we're not going to end in that direction. We're going to end somewhere else. And so we have this strong, right turn or this left turn or something. These turns that are in the story are the critical parts. And so there's a lot of people that just tell me a story of oh yeah, one day I hacked into a company and I stole the assets that they wanted me to steal. And I'm like, okay, great. Where's the twist and turn? Did you go to the wrong company first? Did you hack the wrong thing first? Did you fail the first 20 times? That way, I can pull those out in the story. That's what I'm looking for in stories, stuff that has all these twists and turns that you never expected us to have to switch into that or go there. And that's what makes a good story for me.
Has a story ever challenged your perspective on the right and wrong in cybersecurity?
I think challenging my view is always interesting. I like to pick stories that do challenge my view, because if I'm interviewing a hacker and he's like, yeah, I hacked police, and I'm like, that's kind of a jerk thing to do. I mean, what? So I want to back up and I want to say, okay, my first reaction is, I don't like this. My second reaction is probably similar to that. So what's my third reaction? Okay, my third reaction is, I probably don't know enough about your backstory. Tell me, what have the police done to you as you were growing up? Or what is your relationship with this? Tell me about your teenage years. And so then you start to get into this empathy situation where you're understanding their situation and you're like, oh, I see. I might have done the same thing as them if I was in this position. And now you're practically cheering them on like, yeah, I feel for you, man. Go get them. Let's see what you got. What happens next, right? And so I have to kind of back up and put that context into place to give me their worldview.
Can we talk about human beings? Human beings are a big part of cybersecurity. They're both victims and they're also folks that perpetrate attacks. What do you think about with the average person? So, if you can think about someone who's not a cyber pro, how should they be thinking about privacy? And how, given everything going on in the world?
I think there's this like an asymmetry here of what we think our apps are doing and our computers are doing versus what they are doing. Like there's just a whole bunch of data collection, cookie collection, monitoring, app fingerprinting, all this kind of stuff that I don't think the average person knows. And I think the cards are almost stacked against them to be like, you just don't, like, we don't even want you to know that we're collecting this data, right? And so we're doing extra work to keep you in the dark. And I think that asymmetry of just how much privacy you're losing versus knowing you're losing, like what you think is safe isn't safe, and what you think is private isn't private, and all this sort of thing is growing. And I think that's a problem. I guess some people would become hopeless, like, oh, my data is always going to be in a breach or whatever, and maybe even turn to the dark side. Like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to start my own ransomware company. I think what's changed in me over time is I've realized, wait, I do have the ability to not be impacted by these breaches. Like, obviously the breaches are going to continue to happen and my data is going to be in there, whether I like it or not. But could I do something about that? And I think the answer is being more private, right? So I try to use fake names everywhere I go, fake email address, or, burner email addresses, burner phone numbers, burner credit cards, like everything that I can possibly do so that, okay, my data got breached. Well, that's fine. That's Sam Walters and some other phone number and address that's not even in my state. And so even though your data is out there, you can still cut it off, and it gives you a bigger advantage to what your privacy is today. Because if somebody knows every move you're going to do every day, that is totally different than they knew about a couple things about you 10 years ago because it was in a breach. So I think that there's still some value in cutting it off and not giving up entirely.
You can hear more of Anne's conversation with Jack Recider on the Afternoon Cyber Tea podcast. You can find that right here on the N2K CyberWire Network and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. What's the common denominator in security incidents? Escalations and lateral movement. When a privileged account is compromised, attackers can seize control of critical assets. With bad directory hygiene and years of technical debt, identity attack paths are easy targets for threat actors to exploit, but hard for defenders to detect. This poses risk in Active Directory, Entra ID, and hybrid configurations. Identity leaders are reducing such risks with attack path management. You can learn how attack path management is connecting identity and security teams while reducing risk with Bloodhound Enterprise, powered by SpecterOps. Head to specterops.io today to learn more. SpecterOps, see your attack paths the way adversaries do. And finally, what could possibly go wrong with a plan to rip out the foundation of the U.S. Social Security system in a matter of months? Wired looks at plans hatched by DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk confidant Steve Davis. Their mission? Ditch COBOL, the 60-year-old programming language still powering payments to over 65 million Americans, and replace it with something modern like Java. Fast. Experts are baffled. COBOL runs the system's logic, payments, and even Social Security number assignments. Migrating it all quickly risks unseen errors, like simply not paying people at all. The Social Security Administration's own systems haven't been seriously updated since the 80s. Add in a handful of young, untested engineers and a rumored AI translation plan, and you've got a recipe for digital disaster. Oh, and there's also a mysterious Are You Alive project rechecking beneficiaries. So yes, massive system rewrite, AI code conversion, death audits, and benefits millions depend on. What could possibly go wrong? And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our CyberWire producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Looking for a career where innovation meets impact? Vanguard's technology team is shaping the future of financial services by solving complex challenges with cutting-edge solutions. Whether you're passionate about AI, cybersecurity, or cloud computing, Vanguard offers a dynamic and collaborative environment where your ideas drive change. With career growth opportunities and a focus on work-life balance, you'll have the flexibility to thrive both professionally and personally. Explore open cybersecurity and technology roles today at vanguardjobs.com.